welcome back. My name's Leo and I'm a disaster. This is going to be the intro for a 4-part video segment, I guess, revolving Tokyo Disneyland Resort. It's going to be a part of a larger project that is following my experiences over in Japan when I took a trip in March of 2019. I want to break it down to Tokyo Disneyland, Disney Sea, what we purchased while visiting Tokyo Disneyland Resort, and lastly, I do want to talk about how is Tokyo Disneyland Resort for big people, or as a lot of Disney people say, which I cringe at, but poo-sized people. This video specifically is going to be about Tokyo Disneyland. This is comparable to the Magic Kingdom over in Disney World. It is also similar to Disneyland over in California. Now I do have to say I didn't video much at all. So what I'll do instead is I'll insert some pictures here that might make sense with what I'm talking about in the video. I did take a ton of photos. As a photographer, that's bound to happen. When we arrived at Tokyo Disneyland, it was very apparent that we had come during the 35th anniversary. We knew this when we made our plans to go visit the resort. So when we arrived, it was really nice to see all the different, I guess, art styles, and they even had a mural in the train station showcasing their excitement for the 35th anniversary. I'm going to talk about this a little bit throughout the video as it was an overarching narrative throughout the park. They were very excited that it was the 35th year, and from that, it was incorporated throughout the park. If you plan, one of the first things we do need to talk about is arriving early. My family took the train from where we were staying, which was near Asakusa, and it was about an hour-long train ride for us to Tokyo Disneyland, sort of that area. They do have their own train station that a lot of people use, so be expecting a huge crowd. We certainly did. Now, it is highly recommended that if you're going to go to one of the two parks, you arrive at least an hour to an hour and a half early. I can't say that enough. It is very important, especially when I get into talking about Tokyo Disney Sea. Now for us, we had plans to arrive on time, and those plans did not work out. We had woke up early, everyone was ready to go, but we had a train mishap. We connected to the wrong place, which took us the wrong way. So we ended up arriving to Tokyo Disneyland 15 minutes after the park had opened. It was pretty scary when we first arrived. The park was flooded to begin with, from the outside, that is. And as we made our way inside, it did disperse quite a bit. If you are planning to go to Tokyo Disneyland, I highly suggest you watch many fantastically done YouTube videos that talk about the various, I guess, sections of each park and what's different there. Main Street is different. They have an arch that is over those buildings, and I thought it was rather unique and pretty. One of the pictures I'm going to insert is going to be a shot that I took. It's right in the center of Main Street. Think of this if you are familiar with Disneyland in California, where the pumpkin or the Christmas tree go. They had a 35th anniversary monument. It was not interactive, but it did play music, and it had some songs throughout each hour. This ties into my next point and recommendation, and that is use Tokyo Disneyland's website. I will put that in the description below, so you'll be able to see that if you would like. It does show what they're forecasting in terms of the crowd busyness. We went to Disneyland on a moderate to slow day. It ended up being nice, however, it's still very busy. Winnie the Pooh ride. Probably could not say this too much. Right here is maybe a bit of a spoiler. I'm gonna try not give away too much. So if you're not wanting to have any sort of the experience regarding the Winnie the Pooh ride, I guess, spoiled for you, I would say probably go ahead and skip forward a little bit in the video because I do have to talk about it. Winnie the Pooh is the best ride in Tokyo Disneyland. That's my opinion. That's the opinion of those who went with me. It was seriously fantastically done. The ride is much different than Disneyland in California, and it is different than the ride over in Magic Kingdom as well. The ride itself is trackless. There is no track, though there is sequencing, of course, to where the I guess vehicles, they know where to go. There are several different rooms throughout the ride, which are truly memorable. I do want to say, without getting too much into it, that the Tigger component was fantastic, and that's the reason that we ended up doing the ride more than once. For this reason, the ride is very packed. The queue time is exceptionally long. Even the fast passes can be exceptionally long. Something that we did notice about Tokyo Disneyland is it seems that they allowed a lot of fast passes, which ended up causing a greater delay. Even if you have a fast pass, you're likely going to wait at least 30 minutes, possibly up to an hour. What we did is once we got into the park, we immediately went to the Winnie the Pooh line. We got in queue, and it's a beautifully well done queue. And we also got the fast passes so that we could come back to it later. Now, once you get off the Winnie the Pooh ride, outside is going to be a popcorn cart that has honey popcorn. You have to try that popcorn. It is probably some of the best popcorn that Disney from any of the parks we have been to ever had. It's so good. So Toontown over in Tokyo Disneyland is not very different. If you're a huge Toontown fan, certainly go by, take a look, see what it has to offer. But if Toontown is not your favorite part of Disney or the Disneyland park in California, then I would probably suggest skipping this altogether. One of the pros to us having gone to that section of the park is that we were able to find a unique popcorn bucket. That also is very common throughout Disneyland, Tokyo Disneyland parks, is that they have different popcorn buckets at different carts. So it's not common if you see a popcorn bucket at one spot, you probably will not be seeing it at another location. It was great that we were able to go to Toontown so that we could buy that popcorn bucket. However, other than purchasing that, maybe a few yummy snacks, it's probably a place that you can skip out on. It's a Small World ride. That has become a ride in my life that anytime I go to Disney, I have to do it at least once. It happens to be my mother's favorite ride, so I think a part of the reason I really enjoy it is because of her. I will have to say, the queue is so beautiful, so well done. You have to do it.
Feet and legs inside during the cruise. Please watch young travelers, and there's to be no flash photography. Thank you, and bon voyage.
Now, it doesn't have the same components that Magic Kingdom does, where it was able to, I think with the Magic Bands in Magic Kingdom, it could figure out your name and give you a little pop-up or shout-out at the end. However, the queue is beautiful. It is very gorgeous. And then once you're inside, I would say It's a Small World ride had far more characters in it than my experience with the Magic Kingdom or Disneyland in California. PhilharMagic. This is something I highly recommend that you go to when you're in Tokyo Disneyland. If you had the chance to experience this in the Magic Kingdom, or I know that California is getting it here any day now, if you had a chance to see it in California, it's so great to go experience all those songs in another language. Another ride that had a really cute queue would be Monsters Inc. They kind of created a little bit of the scare factory. So when you go inside, you'll see a desk, you'll see the logo for Monsters. I think it's Monsters Incorporate. I'm not positive what the company name is in Monsters Inc. And then they have different sections that mention security and such. For lunch, it was a big priority for Sal that we go try one of the Tokyo Disneyland's huge hot dogs. So it was really special for him. He enjoyed them, it had a lot of flavor, and I think everyone else had corn dogs. Now, Pirates of the Caribbean is another ride that we went through. The queue is okay, nothing special. It's pretty much the same exact ride that you're going to get if you go to the Magic Kingdom or Disneyland California. If time's an issue, that might be a ride that I would probably skip out on. Jungle Cruise, however, did have a new addition to the park. Of course, they were speaking in Japanese while giving the story. It was still something that we could laugh at. A little bit of a spoiler, so if you want to skip, go ahead and skip. But when you're on the ride, you actually are going to enter a tunnel, and that was sort of a cool experience that I don't recall having had at any of the other parks. Another must if you're going to go to this park is go to the Enchanted Tiki Room. Stitch makes an appearance and it was really fun. So to sit in the Enchanted Tiki Room, listen to some fun music, and then of course see Stitch, it was worth it. Big Thunder Mountain is a Disney attraction that many of us know and enjoy. They do have it over in Tokyo Disneyland. It is a very popular ride. We ended up waiting 2 hours for it. I do have to say that all of the rides, including Big Thunder Mountain, definitely took it up a level. There's much more of a thrill in Tokyo Disneyland's Big Thunder Mountain than I would say I've experienced in Disneyland or in Florida. It definitely felt like a lot of their rides, they took the basis of what was successful over in the States, and then they kind of amped it up a little bit. Now I'm going to tie that statement into another attraction, and that is the Haunted Mansion. I personally really enjoy that. That's Sal's favorite, especially over in California during the Halloween and Christmas time when they turn it into Jack. I believe they do that also in Tokyo Disneyland, so if you're going to go to the park during that time, it would probably be worth it to go experience that. However, I do have to say the attraction was a bit more intense than I think my 5-year-old was ready for. It is a bit stronger in terms of the scare tactics than found in Disneyland. Another great thing about this park is there's a lot of seating. If you're traveling with kids, young ones that need to have naps, there's a lot of space. There's a lot of areas that are typically quieter that you would be able to sit and rest and have them relax and sleep. Thankfully, we were there for the electrical parade that happens at night. It was gorgeous. It was so well worth it. I'm so happy that I got to experience a part of that. I think I do have some video clips for that, so if I do and I can put them in this video, I'll go ahead and do that now.
so excited. Oh, Anna, I can't help it.
After we experienced the electrical parade, we went and did Winnie the Pooh one more time. Go do that ride. We wrapped up our night by going to the Queen of Hearts Cafe. They had some exclusive merchandise. They also had some food that of course was inspired by Alice in Wonderland. It was good food. What are the highlights? The highlights for me were the merchandise, the Winnie the Pooh ride, and the character meet and greets. But the character meet and greets were really special. I saw the characters interacting with guests a lot more than I would say I have seen in the other park. They hugged a lot more, they were there for taking pictures, they were having fun, and I think that really showed in those characters. What are my tips? My first tip is, if you're going to enjoy one of those character meet and greets, be mindful that the line system isn't always a line. A lot of times people circled around those characters and they kind of had to step in order to get the character or the handler's attention. So keep in mind, I know that in the States we're very accustomed, when it comes to the characters at least, that we stand in lines. I didn't see that at either park. So if you're going to go up to one of the mini characters, be mindful that do have courtesy, wait your turn, but you do kind of have to step in and show a little bit of initiative. My next tip, if you're out of the country and visiting Tokyo Disneyland, is get a locker. Similar to most parks, they were located towards the entrance. It makes it a bit easier when it comes time to leave, and they were well worth it. When we purchased merchandise, it was great to go put it in those lockers. That way our hands were free when we got to go enjoy the park. Another tip, of course, is use your Fast Pass. Don't just use it, but if you look at the bottom of the Fast Pass, it'll tell you when you're available to get another one. We actually overlooked that the first time, and then we realized, oh, we could have gotten another one. We instead had waited until we used that first one before we tried to get another one. It worked out for us, but I think you can definitely get more for what it is. If you're being mindful of those times, get more Fast Passes, because I'm telling you, over in Tokyo Disneyland, they will go so quickly. Another tip is, I have to say, take advantage of getting a popcorn bucket. There's so many unique popcorn buckets available over in Tokyo Disneyland. My family and I, we collect those, we use them at home. I have to say that as Disney lovers, we really do use these popcorn buckets and we love them. And when you go to the parks here in the States, it's certainly an item that's going to stand out. Also, do keep in mind, most of the attractions and most components of the park, as well as Japan at large, are in Japanese. If you're wanting to go and experience this in English, unfortunately that's not going to be the case. Most of the park and the attractions within the park are going to be speaking Japanese. And lastly, I do have to say, a huge recommendation is to download the app called TDR, Tokyo Disneyland Resort, TDR Alert. It'll show you queue times, it'll also give you a bunch of resources. It was worth it. All in all, that is the video for Tokyo Disneyland. We loved it, I enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to go back.